Welcome back, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, to the super, not funny show, Supercast. The Supercast, where we talk about all things superhero in our pop culture media. That's video games, movies, TV shows. We talk about the news, do some speculation, all that good nerdy stuff. I'm Mo, your resident comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Ladi. Ladi, what's going on this evening?
Man, nothing much, man. Just, a little tired, but I'm ready to talk about some of this news to see what's going on in the comic book world.
That's right. We got plenty. Well, I don't want to say we got plenty to talk about. It's actually a pretty slow news week as things go because we're between projects. We're waiting for the Flash to come out. We're waiting for Spider Verse to come out, and we're waiting for plenty more Marvel TV shows later on in the summer. So this week, we thought we'd do some fun, nerdy, I don't want to call it nerd fight, but kind of nerdy speculation and discussion. This week, we're going to be ranking the Phase 4 Marvel projects, all 17 of them. I can't believe there's 17 Marvel things that came out in 2 years. Ridiculous, but we're going to rank them all, the definitive list, tier list, so that you have no question about where they all stand. So, but before that, we got a few things to talk about in the news, as we do. In particular, we're going to talk about Deadpool 3. You got a cool little announcement about its status. We're also going to be talking about how Marvel changed its Phase 6 plans after for Kang the Conqueror. Guardians is continuing to kind of do well in the box office. We'll see how it did in the third weekend, and we'll say farewell to an actor that has been in the Marvel universe. So, Lottie, you ready for these things?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. Well, let's get into it. We're gonna say we'll do the sad news first. Very tragic and unexpected, and I have to say, out of the blue announcement of the passing of actor Ray Stevenson, an Irish actor whose face I think most people know, even if they don't necessarily know the man's name. But he passed away on Sunday, this past Sunday, at the age of 57, which is, I don't lie to you, that's a ridiculously young age, to just, we don't know why, but just passed away. His family shared that news. Lottie, I know him for, even though I didn't finish watching the movie, but I watched him in Punisher Warzone, but he was also Volstagg in the Thor movies. And so, obviously he had a big impact there, but he had a face that you sort of knew, like, oh, it's that guy, even if you didn't necessarily know his name. Seemed like, he was just a character actor that many people kind of saw but didn't necessarily know. He wasn't like a huge star, but people knew him and liked his work. So, Lottie, are you familiar with the work of Ray Stevenson and what is this new? How do you feel about this news?
I know him like mainly from the other guys. He played as like the villain
Mm.
that will always steal that will always steal their shoes. He's like, why do you think he's taking our shoes, man? I know that shouldn't be, something that it, I should remember him more from other things, but that's what I mainly remember him from. I really enjoyed his portrayal in that movie. It was freaking hilarious. And of course, what he played as in, the Thor movies, unfortunately, and
They didn't do enough with
oh,
them.
yeah, and Thor, I want to say, what was it? Thor 3 and Thor 4, they pretty much like just almost I almost was I don't even want to say write them off. It was almost like they retconned them. Like
Yeah,
they just
yeah.
just disappeared.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all know that they didn't. Taika Waititi wasn't very interested in the Warriors 3 anyway, but still, and they did get killed off. But he has a long resume. He's acted for a while. He's done voice work. He was in the movie RRR recently that a lot of people liked. And like I said, and he's actually his next project is the Star Wars Ahsoka series, where he's playing a Jedi, a villainous Jedi. So I mean, we're gonna get to see him in one more project, but I mean, you never want to see anyone gone before their time anyway. But this was just really out of the blue. When I saw, I was like, wow, really? Like, I'd like, dude's literally about to be in something, and I think he was even on a press tour for it, or had been on doing press for it. So I mean, that's a big unfortunate situation, but I think he's got a good body of work, and it's just we can celebrate his body of work and what he contributed to motion pictures and TV and all that stuff. So Ray Stevenson, gone at the age of 57, rest in peace, and we'll just happy to have had him when we had him, right?
Yep.
So moving on to somewhat more cheerful news. Ladi, it's happening, dog. It's happening. They started filming Deadpool 3. So the man in the red suit and all of the wisecracks, they're on set filming all these things. Negasonic Teenage Warhead's got, her sarcastic remarks for Wade. And I hope they tell us Patrick Stewart's going to roll out, but we know Hugh Jackman's going to be there. So, Ladi, it's happening. That's the entirety of the news, and I feel like that's plenty of for us to talk about. How now that you know that they are in production, how are you feeling?
Oh, I'm happy. I mean, like I said, I've been wanting to see Deadpool. Ever since that little teaser trailer of Hugh Jackman being like, "All right, I'll be Wolverine," because it don't look like we'll be seeing Wolverine in the MCU anytime soon. But
Well, we are. That's the beauty of it. We are definitely going to be seeing him in
well,
the MCU.
I mean younger, like a younger Wolverine, or
Right.
I don't know. Is this in the same universe? I don't know.
That's the beauty. This is absolutely an MCU thing. And they even have plenty of ways to explain it, because remember, at the end of Deadpool 2, that Wade had a time travel device, but he had a basically a multiversal traveling device. So, and remember, he's also being folded into the MCU proper. This is a Marvel Studios thing. So, look, do we know this for sure? Hell no. But I don't care. That it's official. But he's going to be in, at least for this movie, Wolverine's going to be in the MCU. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine's going to be in the MCU. So I'll take the win where I can get it, damn it. I really hope they bring, look, Patrick Stewart, he's no spring chicken, but damn it, he rolled out for Multiverse of Madness. I'm telling you, if there's three things that are going to make this an S tier movie. One, if somehow they let Deadpool actually have real MCU actors in his movie, somehow, I don't care if it's freaking Wong. If Wong shows up, if Kamala Khan, if even Kate Bishop, if an MCU actor shows up, if Yukio says 3 times, "Hey Wade," and if Patrick Stewart rolls out as Professor X, this is an automatic S tier movie. So if those 3 things happen, we win. Honestly, we don't have anything else to talk about. They're just making it, man, and we know, and it's in production, and I guess the writer's strike isn't affecting it right now somehow. I don't know. I'm not sure, but it's cool news. Glad to see it, and when we hear more about this production, we'll let you guys know. Hopefully, we'll get some good, behind the scenes pictures. Um, so the next thing is a little less fun, and that is talking about Marvel Phase 6 and Jonathan Majors. This is Jonathan Majors. It's the story that just doesn't, Lottie, it just doesn't stop giving in the worst way. You know, it's it's like they keep. It's like it's the story that keeps on handing you shit that you don't want. And in this sense, this is this is about the fact that Phase 6 wasn't going to be all about Kang until they saw Jonathan Major just kick ass as he who remains. And so, it prompted Marvel to sort of, change their strategy. And it's like, let's make Kang a big part of, the centerpiece, the Thanos of this phase. And now we got the whole situation with Jonathan Majors. I mean, just Lottie, just hear about that and understanding that maybe we would have had a more a more balanced Phase 6 that had other bad guys, that he wasn't the centerpiece. I mean, talk about the worst fucking timing, or the worst, like it seemed like a good idea at the time, and now it's just kind of biting them in the butt.
I kind of sensed that they took a pivot because honestly, it seemed like this was supposed to be a celestial story.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
more space. Like it seemed like this was supposed to be a more space celestial story, with the celestials stuff dealing with the Guardians of the Galaxy, but then they kind of just pivoted and said, let's make Kang the main villain of multiple phases, which I'm not gonna sit here and say it was a bad decision, but I kind of wish that they stuck with their guns. Because, like, in
James
my
Gunn's.
opinion, yeah, no pun intended. In my opinion, I was talking to somebody about this with like Secret Invasion. They were like, "Oh yeah, Secret Invasion. We're getting this as a movie. That's a Secret Invasion should not be a Marvel TV show. It should be a phase." In my opinion, it should
Yeah.
have been its own phase. Like, cause I'm like, Secret Invasion is huge in the comic books. Just for it to be a TV show, kind of, it's like I don't agree with that decision. It should have been its own little phase. You know what I mean? If you're going to do something with Kang, you didn't have to make it that it encompassed, because it seems like you're right. All of Phase 4 seemed more of like setting up Celestials. Then at the last second, they were like, Kang.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kang's the villain.
Or
So
at the very least setting up different parts of the MCU that are doing kind of having their own little storylines. Like you said, you mentioned Secret Invasion. I'd have been all for a 4-part Secret Invasion storyline that played out over the course of like two TV shows and 2 movies. I'd have been
yeah,
all for that. And because it's a little more street level, a little less superpower, a little more espionage. Could have been Captain America, could have been Hawkeye, Secret Invasion, the series proper, fold in one more, maybe not necessarily the Marvels, but maybe the Marvels to just kind of tie in the whole outer space thing. It could have been a 4-part deal. Meanwhile, the whole Ant-Man, and then maybe Shang-Chi, maybe Miss Marvel could have done something else, um, related to, I don't know, the Celestials or something. You know what I'm saying? There could have been different aspects of that. But Kang being the bad guy, kind of driving everyone towards himself. I mean, it's interesting because he is a big bad, and then you want to get everyone. You need somebody big enough to get everybody together, but like it was, in a sense, even more so than Josh Brolin. This really was putting everything on this one character, and look, if none of this domestic violence shit had happened, it's a hell of a good bet. Am I wrong? Like
No.
it's a good bet. And but he this shit happened, and now they're kind of stuck. And they're not really doing a ton of it with it right now. But Loki comes out at near the end of the year, which I have to wonder, Lottie, am I crazy? Like, just am I crazy about this? It's way at the end of the year, in my opinion, for no good reason.
No. Like don't know why they're waiting. Like this
I
TV
think,
show should be out
yeah.
yesterday.
I mean, obviously, Secret Invasion is gonna have its time during the summer, but this should be I mean, Secret Invasion starts on June 21st. Presumably, it runs for 6 episodes. It'll be done by early August. You could roll this out in September, right? And then,
Nah, this show, honestly, man, I'm gonna tell you, this show should have came out like 2 months after what's it called? Uh Ant-Man Quantumania. It
yeah,
should have came out 2 months. Like Ant-Man Quantumania came
yeah,
out February, April. This Loki season 2 should have been out
yeah. No, I agree.
because it's there's no reason for them to be releasing it this late, especially when the sequel to Quantumania is Loki season 2. Like,
Yeah,
because, and then let's be honest, Loki season 2 probably would have got more views for Ant-Man Quantumania. You know what I mean? More people probably would have wanted to watch the movie because they're like, "Oh, this is a sequel." Because Loki was a success. They'll be like, that is the prequel to. Okay, let me go watch this. You know what I mean?
right.
Like, I I don't know if it was not ready or if they're just doing that just to space out their content. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they had always planned for it to come after Secret Invasion, just because of probably the time required to like finish it up and everything like that. And I think Secret Invasion was filmed first, but I don't think it's a coincidence that this has been pushed all the way back to October. I don't think that's a coincidence at all. Like, I mean, it's near enough to, like I said, Secret Invasion will be done. It will be done by the end of July, I would say, because it's August, June 21st, 6 episodes. Early August will be the end of it. They could have waited a month, bam, throughout. What is it? Loki season 2. But I think that the timing of this, and I think, what is it, late October this comes out. I think that they're trying to get as much distance from, Jonathan Majors' whole legal situation as they can before they have to make a decision about what the hell to do about him. Like, when they put Loki out, that's it. That could be Jonathan Majors' last entry into the MCU.
Yeah.
And at that point they've got to decide about how they're going to proceed after that. Which, Lottie, did you hear about people talking about, shoot, Chikwudi Iwuji was so good at being the High Evolutionary, why don't you just make him Kang, right? Make him a Kang variant, and slot him in there. What do you think about that idea?
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. Come
I mean,
on, it just makes sense.
Well, think about it like this: they even have a good reason for it. In Loki season 1, we saw multiple Lokis that look nothing like Tom Hiddleston, nothing like him at all, right? We've seen in Multiverse of Multiverse of Madness, we have seen variants of characters that are clearly not going to be those guys when they actually bring them into the MCU proper. So there's plenty of precedent for a variant that doesn't look like. And hell, even Spider-Man. The 3 Spider-Men are the same person. They clearly aren't physically the same person. So that works as far as I'm concerned. And obviously Chikwudi Iwuji is like excellent. He did a great job as the High Evolutionary. Why not? To be honest, I'd be like, okay, fine. That he's Kang now. Cool, I'm with it. You know. So anyway, I don't know. I think they're in a bit of a. I think they're in a holding pattern right now, but by the time Loki season 2 comes out, they'd better have figured out what the fuck they're gonna do. So
I completely agree.
yeah. So we'll let you guys know. Loki comes out in October, so it's a ways away from now. Phase 6 might look a lot differently. Than we might have a different Kang. Kang. And we'll see. We'll let you guys know when we find out more information. So final bit of news. This is just a little bit of box office stuff. Ladi, James Gunn, all he does is win, 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 no matter what. You know, am I right about that? Like, he takes no L's. Even when he took a L by getting fired by Disney, he still got a big old W after that. Like, it's like he got fired and then got a come up right after that. So, Guardians, I could not believe it. I thought it would happen, just because I had a good feeling about it and the way people were talking about it. Guardians dropped 47.7% in its third weekend. And do I have to keep reiterating this? That's phenomenal. Like, okay, admittedly, did it have like Spider-Man No Way Home, opening weekend? No, it didn't. But still, dropping less than 50% week to week. I mean, movies. Every director of every movie, every studio wishes their movies would do that shit. Go from 1 week to the next, less than half of a drop off. Because that means, you know what that means? It means, one, people are going back to see it again, but also word of mouth is working. So Lottie,
Yeah.
it makes $32.4 million in its second weekend. It's past $660 million worldwide. I don't know. Is $800 million in sight?
Yeah. It's gonna make it. Third week is already 600 million. I think it will make. I think I think the people that went to go see Fast 10 are probably like,
What the hell is
why did I
this?
watch this movie? Why did I watch this movie over? I saw a meme that was like extremely funny. They were like, Fast 10 made $350 million, and they said, a 11th movie is in the plans now. One person put it. I saw like it was like a screenshot. Fluffy said, "Is you see, this is y'all fault," and I'm like, yeah. They won't stop making movies until people stop watching them.
I blame people
Right.
not in America, because they're the ones that pumped up that. Like, it actually had a fairly soft opening in America, but it did really well overseas. Guardians, though, like I said, it passed 660 million. It needs 140 million to make 800. And I'm just gonna say, y'all be prepared to pick up that phone, because I'm telling you, it's gonna make 800 before. It's gonna make at least 800. It has legs like Wakanda Forever did, and I'm pretty sure I called over 800. I think I even called 850. Did I call 850 for Wakanda Forever? I feel like I did. This one's definitely gonna hit 800 million. I think it just has a rewatchability. It's the only reason why it's not doing even better is because it's a little tough for kids to watch.
Oh yeah, that's not a kid.
It's a little tough for kids to watch. That's the only. If it was a lot more fun, and I don't mean fun. If it was less dark than it is, this would easily be a $900 million movie. So, but I just wanted to just stand for Guardians 3 and also for James Gunn. And hey, this is an achievement. It's doing let's be clear here. This thing is, I think it's profitable. By the end of the week, it's going to be in the black, and it's going to be making money for the studio. It's going to be past, covering the costs. And I think actually you could probably argue it's already done that. So I think this is it's a good thing wherever this ends up. I think it's going to end up more than Thor 4, definitely. Um, and I think it's like I said, 800, a little north 800 is probably the likelihood, I think. So we'll see. We'll see where this all ends up. And also, this just makes me feel like I'm still like, yeah, I'm 100% in on James Gunn running the DCU. I'm waiting to hear more about Superman Legacy, which I think we're gonna get from Comic-Con in a couple months. So we'll see. Anyway, Lottie, believe it or not, that's all of our news for this week. So what did you guys think about what we had to say? Did we miss some things? Did we not cover a topic that you thought we might need to? Did we get it wrong? Whatever you have to say about it, get down to the comment section, leave your thoughts there. Of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter.
All right, Ladi, now it's moving on to what I consider one of the most important things we're going to possibly do on this channel, which is we're gonna have a nerd fight of sorts, well, let's call it nerd discussion before we call it nerd fight. We're gonna do the Marvel Phase 4 tier list. We are going to definitively rank all of the Phase 4 shows, and everybody else's tier lists are wrong. So just like you guys know the Supercast, that's where you want the real truth, right, Lottie? Where we're gonna give it to them straight.
Yes.
So, as we all know, Phase 4 is perhaps the greatest phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Is that a fair statement, Lottie? Universally loved, with no real criticism. It's definitely a statement, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a statement.
Well, how about this one? It is the largest phase. How about that? It's the largest MCU phase.
The largest.
16 projects total, and over the course of 2 years, and it had the tough job of dealing with the MCU after Endgame. When I'm sure you heard plenty of people saying, "Well, I guess the MCU's over now. We can stop watching all of this stuff." And I was just like, "Nope, there's still more stuff coming. That's not the end." So this is, let's call it in terms of sports ball teams, it's a rebuilding year. So, yeah, and obviously I'm being facetious. There's a lot of people that didn't like Phase 4, or they liked some things, but mostly they didn't. So that notwithstanding, let's get into this tier list. All right, so I got the tier maker pulled up. Lottie, 16 things to choose from, and it's let's see if I call them right. She-Hulk, Eternals, What If Season 1, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and The Legend of the Ten Rings, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Thor: Love and Thunder, Moon Knight, Werewolf by Night, Miss Marvel, Spider-Man No Way Home, Loki, WandaVision, and even though it's not on this tier list, whoever made this is an idiot, is the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. So that's what we got to choose from, okay? S tier, A, B, C, and D tier. So I'm just going to start from the first one I mentioned. She-Hulk, the universally acclaimed She-Hulk, where everyone agreed the CG was possibly the best that the MCU's ever seen. And there was zero problems with the messaging and themes in the show. Lottie. Lottie. Where would you lay this one out?
See, here's the thing. I wish there was one more tier underneath D, because I will
usually is.
E, but I will put this as C tier, as in it was a good one-time watch. I don't think I'll watch it again. It was a good one-time watch. C tier is not, like, in my opinion, C tier is not a bad because the way the tier list is set up, it's like C tier is bad, but C tier is like a good average score. C get degrees,
Right.
As a guy who literally got degrees off of C's. I will never scoff at a C, but I'll put it solidly in C tier. There was parts about it that I was entertained. Really, what really got me is and why it could have been an A tier show, in my opinion, is the fact that they had an A tier episode, but it only showed one time. And it
Right.
was the episode with Daredevil. That is what I wanted from the show. She's a kick-ass attorney during the day and beating up criminals at night. That
Right.
is what I wanted from the show, and they only gave it to us one time, which was like, God, I kind of wish this was if that was to show the entire show, it would have been A tier, almost S tier, honestly.
Right. And whatever the CG.
Yeah.
I think I'd have it higher at B, but I'm going to go along with you at C tier. I probably will watch it again at some point, but I'm not running to go see it again.
Yeah.
So, Eternals. I think we're gonna. Well, I think we will disagree on this one. Even though I think when we first reviewed it, I think we were generally of the same mind. But I've gone back and looked at it a little bit. So I personally will put this at B. I think it's overly long, but in terms of like storytelling and doing more than most Marvel movies do, really kind of avoiding some of the pitfalls of Marvel movies. And also having to juggle a ton of people. I liked it a lot. What its failings as being too long and kind of having a lame ass villain, that's fine. But like it looked a lot different and played a lot different to me. So B tier for me.
Yeah, I got this in D tier. I'm sorry. I got it. I got it at the bottom. Spoilers. Just letting you know. Spoilers it's the only one in D for me. Because this movie has so much potential. To me, it just had a little bit too many pitfalls. I think this movie could have been a good semi-Avengers movie.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest with you, it kinda, in my opinion, what could have made this movie, I think, even higher in the tier list was if Phase 4 was about Celestials and the cosmic stuff.
Right.
Because that's the one thing that kind of confuses me with Eternals and, of course, what is the Thor. You're mentioning these cosmic deities, and it's just like, but the whole point of the phase is about time, and it's kind of like, it seemed like Marvel originally, Phase 4 was supposed to be about deities, you know what I mean? But then they made a quick turn and said, let's make it about time. Right. You know what I mean? You can kind of tell with some, because we know this for a fact that some of the movies that were taken out of order so they can, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You can kind of tell. So it's just, I felt like it feels like the movie almost doesn't belong in Phase 4. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, we'll see if Guardians makes it a little more relevant. But yeah, things were a little more grounded. We'll split the difference and put it in C. All right. So, what if season 1? What do you think?
Man, what if I almost want to put it in A. I almost want to put it in A. But it's like a solid B plus tier for me. I enjoyed this show. I really, really, really enjoyed this show. The only thing that kind of took me away from this show was, of course, we all know they skipped an episode.
Yes.
Because I guess they didn't have enough time.
Right.
And then, two, they've made Ultron. They freaking they nerfed Ultron at the final episode so bad, and it became almost like a pew pew pew.
Yeah.
It started off like this he took the bomb and ate it. So I was like, oh shoot. Then it just devolved into a pew 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 fight, and
Yeah.
that kind of put it in B tier for me because you showed what this dude was. The man was literally punching the Watcher through dimensions, was biting universes to. Why won't you go away? I'm like, oh, why? You know, it's just, you know.
I feel you. I'm inclined to go A also, but I mean, you're right. Those flaws were kind of a little evident. I'm inclined to go with A for two reasons. One, because T'Challa Star-Lord could be one of the best like what if characters ever. And two, it was pretty dope seeing yeah, I know that another Black Panther, but seeing what's his name? Killmonger just fucking wreck shop with Tony Stark. There's a lot of coolness to it. I want to say A, but I'll go along with B on that for you. The next one is Hawkeye. You know what? A lot of people were disappointed with it. They liked it, but they weren't like high on it. I love this show. It's and not even because Clint Barton is like such a great centerpiece to the show. I like him quite a bit. But I liked it just because we get more Yelena, which was awesome. And also because Kate, she's a cool new character, and to see the two of them, that just for that the girl power moments and the girl bro moments that they have, that's enough price of entry. And plus we got fucking Kingpin. Like, okay, that I don't need anything else. That's a A tier for me. What do you think, Ladi?
I have it in B tier, and the reason why I have it in B tier, but if we could put it in A tier because you're right. I just remembered about the absolute, just Chad performance that I keep forgetting her name.
You're talking about Florence Pugh.
Florence
I'm telling
Pugh.
you're not gonna forget that woman's name. She is gonna be in so many good things. She's in Dune, the second episode.
Yeah.
Dune.
She's I think
great.
she's like the next like female rock star in the movie industry. Like, she really did kill that performance.
Yeah.
It started off a little slow for me, but then it really picked up towards the end, and that's why I was like, agree that I agree with you that I will put it towards A.
Yeah.
A tier.
And don't listen to anybody else that says otherwise. Damn it. That brings us to Black Widow. Again, Yelena, right? If there's a reason why we like Hawkeye so much, follow me with this, Ladi. Yelena she's a revelation in this movie. Like, I love every scene that she's in there, and she's interacting with with Natasha. But is the movie itself that great? I think it's okay. I think it's more than okay. I think it's B tier. It has some really cool ass action. And it's got a cool backstory. I love seeing the backstory. I just think Taskmaster being lame as hell, and the villain just being basically the Purple Man, but not really. It wasn't that big. It wasn't that great as far as the conflict. But the actual, Natasha, Yelena, the Red Guardian, the original Black Widow, all of them together as a family, that's dope, and I liked it. So for me, it's B tier.
Yeah, I have it in B tier as well. The villain and what's it called, Taskmaster, because I really like Taskmaster. Is actually I'm a real big fan of Taskmaster, and for them to just basically made Taskmaster a cyborg, basically like this android that doesn't speak, and just it really hurt my soul because
Right.
it's just like, you didn't have to make that person Taskmaster.
It could have been anybody else. How about just anybody else? It could have just been You know,
Or it could have just been an MCU exclusive
yeah,
character.
Cyborg Ninja number 7, whatever.
Exactly.
So,
It's just ugh. And then the villain just made me just every time he was on screen, I just felt uncomfortable. And I was just like, this feels extremely uncomfortable.
yep.
But every other part of the movie I really did enjoy. So I do put it in B tier. And I do wish that this movie came out between Endgame and Infinity War. I really wish
Yeah.
it would have
That
came
would
out before.
yeah, that would have been better, I think. Moving on. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I don't have much to say about this except S tier. That's it's great. I've seen it a few times. The movie's fucking great. Great action, a great design. Hell, even the pew pew Marvel fight that we know we're gonna get, we just know we're gonna get it, is fucking epic. And there's like anime inspiration and everything in there. There's a lot of the Chinese wuxia inspiration in there. Simu Liu as Shang-Chi, love it. Tong Leung as was it the Mandarin, great. I mean, I really don't have any problems with this movie. I liked it a lot. So what do you think, Ladi?
I have it in A tier. High A tier. Love this movie. Made me and I said this the day that I watched this movie. Paramount, you have no damn excuse to give us an actual good live action Avatar movie. Get on it. I enjoyed this movie because you know how much I grew up on kung fu movies, like real, like legit. I'm not one of these like normies or people that said they love kung fu movies but only watch Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee. I watched Sammo Hung, all these different. I was a big kung fu buff as a kid, and this movie was like, okay, I get superheroes and kung fu in the same movie. Sign me up. And I enjoyed this movie. Only reason I don't have it in S tier, it's because there's one movie that I have in S tier that I just feel like it being next to it for how much the movie meant to me.
Right.
I just feel like it's like an A plus tier. Like A plus.
I'm gonna, I'm going to raise it to S simply because A plus tier is so close to S, and I'm at S already. So, well, I'm gonna round it up. So Shang-Chi, you get a little few extra points. This next one is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. You should already know what my tier is going to be on this. Ladi, I mean, what have I said about this movie? So, repeatedly, this is my favorite Phase 4 movie or anything. It's my favorite thing in all of Phase 4. So, for me, it's S tier. I could explain, but, go watch our review. You'll know why. So, Ladi, what you think?
You're not going to like me for this one.
You're going to put it all the way down at C, and we're going to fight.
No. I have it high B tier. The only reason why it's not in my A or B tier.
You know what? The ancestors, they're just shaking your head at you right now.
I just felt it was just a little too long. It just felt a little. I felt like the movie had about 30 minutes that it could have cut out just a bit, make it about a 2 hour and 15-minute movie. It just felt a little too long to me. That's the only reason why I don't have it, because it's like S tier to me is perfection. A tier is like almost perfection. B tier is like, I love the movie. You know what I mean? That's how I rate my stuff. And it's just like, I enjoyed it. I just felt like it was just a little bit too long.
The ancestors are shaking their heads. I'm putting it in A tier to split the difference. So, next we have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It's of Phase 4, the second most successful movie box office wise, at over $900 million box office. You know what? I think I want to put it at A tier. It's mainly because, yeah, it's a super Sam Raimi movie. There are some like what the hell moments, but it's very imaginative. I like America Chavez a lot. I loved the whole Illuminati thing. That was a lot of fun fan servicey stuff, and I just generally it raised my opinion of Doctor Strange because my opinion of Doctor Strange sort of took a hit in No Way Home. And so this really kind of put it back over there. And also Scarlet Witch as just like this murderous villain was pretty damn cool. So I'm thinking A tier.
I put the movie as B tier, but high B tier. And the only reason why I put it as B tier, because I think the movie should have a different name. I think the movie should have been called Wanda Multiverse of Madness. Because technically she was the main character. And that raging Karen was destroying some universes with her, I want to see my kids again, that you never had in this universe. Except, in a world that except the city where you subjugated a whole bunch of people to do what you wanted. I felt like this movie should have been called WandaVision Multiverse of, well, not WandaVision because Vision is not in the movie. Just could have been called Wanda Multiverse of Madness, and had Doctor Strange in the movie because
featuring Doctor Strange.
Because I felt like Doctor Strange wasn't the main character in the movie. It just didn't feel like it. And then the absolute disrespect to bring all these actors that were highly coveted by the fan base, just to brutally murder them like that. I mean, Jesus, you just... God.
How dare you people?
I mean,
so you said high B. I'll put it at B.
Yeah, I put it high B. I enjoyed the movie. Really did enjoy it.
Now it was a good continuation, and it makes you look forward to more magic stuff in the MCU. All right, the next one is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So the first TV show we're really going to be, well, I guess we looked at What If. The first live action TV show. You know what? I wanted to say B. I think I want to say B tier. And it's mainly because I think the show in the early episodes doesn't really know what it's doing. You know what? Do I want it at B? I think there's some cool stuff in there. This is tough. I think I am going to still say B tier. There's a lot of good themes and talking about Sam wanting to take on the shield. Fun stuff with Wakandan, Dora Milaje. There's dancing Zemo. We got what's her name? The power broker. All that stuff is fun, but the fucking villains are like compelling until they need to be bad guys, and then they're just not. And that annoyed the hell out of me. That really annoyed me. The way the villains were treated in there. And I like Sam being Captain America. I like Bucky flirting with his sister. All that stuff is cool. I just think that in some ways it just kind of drags its feet in certain places, and it doesn't really it doesn't want to take a stand really on some things, and I don't think it's as cool, but I did like the show.
I had this at A tier, but then you just reminded me of the villains. I hated their villains. I remember it.
Well, you remember we were like, are they the villains? Because like everything they're saying everything they're saying is kind of making sense though. And then they were like, but let's randomly blow people up, and I was just like,
exactly
what?
Like at first it was just like I'm kind of with y'all to now. Let's just kill innocent people for no reason, and let's say we're peaceful. Like what the. Oh, I hated their villains, man.
Yeah, I mean, y'all had me on your side, and then y'all gave John Walker a reason to beat a guy's face in. So, So
I really did. Like at first, I was like, I was like, oh yeah, I love this show. All I was remembering was all the stuff. Literally, I'm not lying to you. I completely forgot about the villains. I swear, the villains completely were gone out of my mind. And you said them, and I was like, oh my god, oh, that show did not deserve the villains that were in that show, and that's why I'm with you. It's down to B tier.
B tier.
It's yeah, unfortunately.
Next one is Thor: Love and Thunder, which, as I understand, is mostly about a bunch of screaming goats pulling a chariot, and Thor and Thor cheating on Mjolnir with his other hammer. You know what? Ugh, I gotta say B tier on this one also. And this isn't even because I had huge expectations and I just lost, they didn't meet my expectations. It really was Thor: Love and Thunder's sensibility, but like dial up the silliness. And also it really did a disservice to Gore the God Butcher. Like if they could if there's any do-overs they could ever do in the MCU, I want a do-over on Gore. Cuz they wasted Christian Bale on a silly version of an actually pretty damn terrifying villain in the comics.
Yeah.
And so just for that alone, it has to be B tier. It wasn't a bad movie. I did enjoy it. I did enjoy many aspects, but the disservice they did to Gore, that's I can't forgive that.
I put it in B tier because the movie was enjoyable to watch, but I just do not like how they kind of did a 180 on Thor's character development. I don't like that at all. It was one of my gripes that we had in the review that Thor had this huge character development at the end of Thor Ragnarok and Infinity War, and he just made a complete 180 and he's back at square one. It feels like we're literally this is Thor from Thor 1 all over again. And it kind of upsets me. It's a little upsetting that they decided to do that. And it reminds me of Dragon Ball, what they did with Goku. Goku's in Dragon Ball Super is back to the Goku at the start of Z. You know what I mean? It's just like, why? Why did they just do that to Thor? And it kind of, you know what I mean? Thor went from a leader to like, he went from I don't know what I'm doing to a leader to I don't know what I'm doing again. It's confusing. I don't know what Marvel kind of is. And even Chris Hemsworth even said he kind of voices frustrations a little bit of the Thor character too, that it seemed like he took 10 steps back. It seems like I said, we're back to Thor 1 Thor.
Except, I mean, close. I mean, he's just, a lot more carefree, silly, or whatever. And the character development may not necessarily be, what we were expecting. We were expecting King Thor, and instead he's still just like kind of a frat bro stumbling through the universe, with a lot of power. So. But you're right. I did like this movie. I like the movie. I mean, I think it was a good time. I don't think it lived up to Ragnarok, which to me is the best of the Thor movies.
Oh yeah, Ragnarok is S tier.
Yeah. So moving on to Moon Knight, and I might surprise you on this. You know what? I'm between B and C on this one. And it's because Moon Knight would do this weird thing of like having this like really awesome episode, and then just kind of like they're like going real, and then they're just kind of swerving into a totally different lane and give me another episode that was weirdly out of step with whatever was going on. And I mean, they did the whole is this real, isn't it real, like just there was a lot of weird tones and weird direction changes. But it culminates in a really freaking cool, ending. Even if it's nonsense, it's a nonsensical but really cool ending, where you got kaiju, gods fighting around the damn pyramids, while superpowered Moon Knight and the Scarlet Scarab are beating up, they're beating up the henchmen and shit like that. They're beating up Harrow, and that's really cool. And the mental illness stuff is really cool, and the Layla stuff is really cool. But gosh, some of this just really, like I said, it just changes pace and like direction in weird ways. And ultimately the ending, it makes you wonder, like, is this in the Marvel universe? And if it is, how does this have anything to do with anything? Anyway, I got to decide. I think it's between C or B tier. I might have to say C.
My heart is telling me A, but my mind is telling me B. Because you perfectly summarized this show for me. If you watched episode 1 and skip to the final episode, you'll literally say the fuck. You will literally say that.
Well, I would like to think that that's true about any show like of this type. Like, you're just like, what is going on at the end of this thing? But you're right. The kaiju thing is what that threw me. The kaiju and reversing time, like, it was weird. There's just weird shit going on. And I understand it's mystical, but like, it's weird in a way of like, how does this connect or relate to any of this other stuff?
The problem with Moon Knight is that I think the writers were like, okay, we're going to write this dark thing. And then somebody, I'm not saying they were like, oh, you have to make it like this. Somebody was like, you have to make it like it fits into Marvel. Because you can clearly tell the first 3 episodes were these dark horror. Like, you know what I mean? It was dark and horror. And it seemed like some episodes they tried to go back to it. Like, when they were in the pyramid and those, like, monsters were chasing them and it, like, brutally killed some of the people. Like, you could tell it's just like you said. Like, I'll tell you straight up, I did not like the final episode at all. I did not like the final episode because it's like anytime somebody like talks to me about Moon Knight and they bring up the final episode, I try to change the subject back to one of the early episodes because it just doesn't fit with the show at all. In my opinion.
Come on, you at least have to admit that Layla becoming the Scarlet Scarab was fucking cool. Like,
I mean, it was cool. Like, like I said, it's a cool thing, but it's like, I wish it didn't go, like, of all the things that become, like, super Marvel-y and, like, the big final pew, pew, pew fight, that was not it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's... So you said B. Your heart said, your mind says B.
It's a B tier. B tier. If you put it in C, I wouldn't be upset.
I'm leaning towards. I'll put it in B. I liked it well enough. That brings us to Werewolf by Night. Ironically enough, because Moon Knight did premiere in Werewolf by Night when the comics. It's all about the Wolfman and Man Thing and the Society of Dark Hunters. And if you just like took the Marvel logo, this could have just been the start of a cool franchise somewhere else, having nothing to do with the comics, right? I love this. I'm gonna put it in A tier. For me, I don't think it's perfect, but god dang it, is it a cool ass show. And it is, again, this is one, in the way that WandaVision is just like a left turn for Marvel in terms of, at least at the beginning, of how it presents itself. It's not a typical Marvel thing. This is like literally a person who loved old school horror movies and was like, hey, y'all have old school horror characters in Marvel. How about this? How about we put them in there? And they're just like, sure, go wild. And it's black and white. I mean, it's black and white. There's so much character to the show itself. Not the characters are interesting, and I want to know more about them. But the show itself, the way it presents itself, it's just, there's so much character and personality to it. that says, I'm in the Marvel universe, but don't think I'm Captain America or whatever. We're doing something else over here. I loved it. Lottie, what'd you think?
I got it in B tier.
Okay.
I like the aspects of the show. Um, it kind of felt like almost like I wish it had an extra 30 minutes, you know,
Right.
to make it into an actual movie. Like I wish instead of it being a special, it was just a one-off like Disney Plus only movie. Like that's the one thing that I kind of feel like I'm not saying I question the decision, but if you're going to make it an hour-long special, I don't. I wish they kind of just added 15 to 30 more minutes to it and just made it a Disney Plus only movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? I felt like they could have kind of little done that because I felt like there were some things I wish I would have known a little bit more about of some of the characters. You know, find out this guy's been a werewolf this entire time and he's trying to save his friend Swamp Thing or Man Thing.
Man Thing.
Man Thing.
And I personally wish we had seen more Elsa Bloodstone. Even though we saw plenty, but like there's a lot to that character and her family history and everything. So I think we definitely want to see more. You said B tier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go there. I think it's A tier, but I'll take it there. We got a lot of B tiers here. That may be a sign of this phase. Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel is a 6 episode. It's really short, unfortunately. But man, I love the hell out of this show. Like I'm gonna say S tier. I know you're not gonna agree with me about this. I'm saying S tier, even though the finale was the Marvel-y pew pew finale. But even then, it's the finale, the Marvel pew pew finale was even still within the style and the substance of Miss Marvel itself. I think Iman Vellani could be the most perfect casting that the MCU has ever done. I love the character. I love her family, all the backstory. There's very little about this show. The only thing about it is that there was the villains were kind of lame. That was, to me, that was it. And normally that would bump it down a level, but I'm not kidding. If it weren't for Wakanda Forever, this would be my favorite thing in Phase 4. There's just too much to it that appeals to me. So I'm gonna say S, but if you say A, I won't argue with you.
I have it in B.
Oh,
I have it in B.
Now we're gonna argue.
I enjoyed it. It suffers from what I feel a lot of Phase 4 the TV show suffer from. It had dumb villains to where I'm just saying to myself like, why are you guys doing this? It's just it kind of takes away from the show. It takes away from the good actors. Because like you said, Miss Marvel was brilliantly casted. I actually really did enjoy it. I'm happy the show exists. But like I said, it just suffers from what I believe and what it is just what I put like for all the other things that I put here. The villains are just dumb.
Right.
The villain was just dumb, and it just along with Falcon and Winter Soldier, Miss Marvel, all that stuff. I put it there because it's just like, come on now, like,
right.
I just wish they just gave the villain. I felt like that's what brought the show down is because every time I saw the villains, I'm just like, you guys are just mad for no reason. Like, what are you mad about? Like, chill out.
Yeah,
she said she will help you. I have to go now. Oh my god.
Yeah, well, this is generally Marvel has a villain problem in general. There are very few great villains that they have. So I am going to put it in the middle, which is going to be A tier. All right, so last 3, Spider-Man: No Way Home. I'm going to put it at S. I'm going to go ahead and put it at S. Well, for me personally, and it did too many things right. Like, this movie actually, I actually for real had tears at a certain couple parts in the in the movie. It's funny, you know. It's very fun in a lot of ways. It's super dark in other ways. It redeems some character, like it redeems the Electro in a good way. And also it has 3 Spider-Man. So the big set piece fight at the end. I mean, you can't ask for too much more. And of course, you know, Doctor Strange in it being a jerk. and it ends in the most Spider-Man possible way, where he has to sacrifice everything to be, you know, to save everything, and has to, you know, you know, his status quo goes to the Spider-Man we know and love. So I'm saying S. What do you think, Ladi?
I mean, come on, man. This isn't a discussion. S, like, come on. This is by itself, in my opinion. I love this movie. And here's the thing why I love this movie. Because I could see the underground meaning of this movie. And I've talked about this with a lot of my friends. One of the problems that Tom Holland's Spider-Man, not Tom Holland's portrayal of Spider-Man, his Spider-Man character, he never truly faced consequences for his actions. He always got off. You know what I mean? Never. Unlike any other of the Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, consequences. Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, consequences. Tom Holland Spider-Man, he'll get fixed.
Yeah.
He'll be fixed. Everybody Found My Identity, it got fixed. This was the first time every mistake he made, there was a consequence behind it. And he was finally had to learn from his mistake, because he was ready to quit as Spider-Man, because he never faced that before. He never had to face consequences. And I believe Sony and Marvel Studios came together and was like, yeah, this is the story that we're going to tell. Tom Holland Spider-Man finally realizing it's not cool to be Spider-Man. It's not like, oh yeah, it's cool to be a superhero. Nah, man, some days it sucks.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he finally had that character development where he had to finally realize, damn, the mistake I made, the mistake I made was one of the consequences. May passed away. My 2 best friends almost died from my mistakes. And now that they get a free card and they can live normal lives, let me not be a selfish asshole and let them live.
Mm-hmm.
And I love this movie. And don't even get me started with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. I could go on. I could talk about this movie for an hour. Literally could talk about this movie for an hour. I've already watched it like 10 times. So.
It's a great movie. Like, what else is there to say? And it made over $1 billion for a reason. So S tier for that one. 2 left. Loki season 1, where the multiverse got blown wide open. This is an A tier for me. It has a couple weak episodes. Not even want to call it weak. It has a couple episodes where you're just like, okay, this is fine, but like, what are y'all doing? But for the most part, not only is it the most consequential, films or shows ever in the MCU. Tom Hiddleston's great, but we also get Sylvie. We get like a bunch of different Lokis, the TVA, and we get, eventually at some point, Kang. Mobius is really, really freaking cool, and a bunch of multiversal stuff. The whole Sylvie, Loki relationship, pretty dang cool. And also, of course, we got to see He Who Remains. That was really dope too. And it starts off the whole multiverse. That's the proper start off of multiverse in the MCU. So I'm going to say A tier. What do you think, sir?
I have it in B tier. And the only reason why I have it in B tier, because I felt like there were some episodes in the middle of the show that I just felt like it's almost like they didn't need to be there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I really did love who remains. Like that was one of the really coolest like villains of this guy who's like, hey man, I know everything. I already know what you're gonna do. And then like in mid conversation of them arguing, he's like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen now.
Right, right.
It was just like, oh shoot, and it kind of makes me wonder if the Kang that was sent into Ant-Man's universe and the what is it? The quantum, isn't that the quantum? Isn't it that what it is? The
Yeah.
quantum verse. The quantum verse was the one who became the one who remains. You know what I mean? It kind of seems like he was the one,
I guess we'll
but
never know.
we'll never know. But it's yeah, I put it in B tier because I felt like some episodes were like just fluff episodes,
Hmm.
but I really did enjoy having it. It's like really high B tier for me.
Well, I'm gonna split the difference and say A, if for no other reason, because if you say high B tier, I'm like, I'm already at A. So,
Yeah.
last one, WandaVision, the start of the Phase 4 projects. What is what I've already said? It did a bunch of different things with the whole sitcom deal. It sort of sets up Multiverse of Madness and introduces Monica Rambeau and gives her powers. All that's cool. That the whole twist with Pietro was pretty cool. Seeing some backstory about who Wanda is. I think it's a lot of imaginative things going on, especially with Agatha and all that and the magic and introducing magic, and it fucks it all up by having a weird ass pew pew finale episode, right? And that to me that drags it down. But I can't lie, it's got to be an A tier show. There's too much interesting and weird storytelling, and like to me storytelling that again you're not really getting that in the MCU, and I gotta give it points for that. I feel like I have to put it at an A even with that terrible finale.
I put it in A tier, almost B tier because I hate that Pietro just an actor.
He's just a guy.
I don't like when movie or game companies do stuff like that. Don't tease the fans with stuff like that. If you know what I mean? Like, oh hey, we're gonna give you what you want, but hey, it's just fake. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to just anger some people. You know
Right.
what I mean? Just if you're not going to put him as Pietro, don't even attempt it.
Nope.
You know what I
Nope.
mean?
They did that. They did that shit in the same way that in Multiverse of Madness they did the whole John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic shit, and we'll never see that again.
It's
So,
the same thing with
yeah.
what's his name is Professor X. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah. Patrick Stewart came back as
Just
Professor X. I'm like, come
just
on.
don't
Thank you, but like, don't play with us like that.
yeah, don't play. That's just teasing. And then, like you said, the final pew 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 fight.
Yeah,
Just
it was one. It may be the most egregious Marvel ending like that we've seen. Like there's a lot of Marvel endings, but this may be the most egregious. Throw all the cool stuff we were doing out of the way so we can shoot lasers at each other. Finales. It's more egregious than the Moon Knight one, which is pretty egregious as far as that goes. Being a weirdo finale, season finale. So, but we're gonna say A tier for that one. So this is the final, no D tier one. Surprise! None of them, because a lot of people have been saying a lot of shit about how trash Marvel Phase 4 is. I'd never felt that way. I liked watching every single thing that we got in Phase 4. Some of them I liked, much more than other things, but I never disliked any of them Phase 4 projects. Like, for real. I got, I don't even want to say I got close. I was disappointed by Eternals, and I quite like She-Hulk, even though I recognize some flaws to it, but I liked everything in Phase 4. What about you, Ladi?
I felt like Phase 4 sort of like was like I feel like some people will say in anime it was the filler arc, even though everything they call it canon filler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
it
It's
it
it's
kind of
very undirect. It feels like it's very directionless. Like it's all of these things are pulling in different directions. It's cosmic, magic, street level stuff, mutants maybe at some point, celestials. Like there's godlike shit. That it's pulling like 5 or 6 different directions, and only a couple of them really seem to be indicating that there's an overall like thrust of the story. It's the multiverse things are the only consistent factor in this, and that's only between 3 things. So that directionlessness may be the reason why people feel so strongly about how not necessarily good this is, but again, I liked it all. So here's our definitive list. We got Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings and Spider-Man No Way Home at S tier. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Miss Marvel, Hawkeye, Loki, Season 1, and WandaVision at A tier. B tier is What If, Black Widow, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Thor Love and Thunder, Moon Knight, and Werewolf by Night. And finally, C tier, She-Hulk and Eternals. So there you go. Ladi, sorry, our definitive list. No one should look at any other list. This is that's like forget everybody else's. Ours is correct. So anyway, you guys, do you agree with us? Don't agree with us? You know what to do. Get down there to the comment section, leave your thoughts. And of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. And while you're down there, do us a favor, hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. It helps people to see this channel, see this podcast, and it helps grow the channel. Ladi, if you can believe it, we're at 178 subscribers. I know, yes, we're trying to get to 200 subscribers. So you guys show us some love, get down there and hit us up. So and of course, I can't do this by myself. I need Ladi's help. With all the superhero stuff. So, Ladi, where can they reach you on social media?
Oh, yeah, you can always find me on my Instagram, which is Anukinihun. Again, it's Anukinihun, ANUKINIHUN, and of course my YouTube channel, which is Kinihun25. Working on a new video to put on my Instagram and YouTube, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, and you guys keep an eye out for Drunk Halo, where you can enjoy watching Ladi die many times. So anyway, this has been the Supercast for episode 102. Can you believe it? 102. Come back next week. We got plenty more news to talk about. Hopefully more than we had this week. And we'll talk about. I'm hoping we're going to talk about Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. We'll see. We'll see if we can binge watch it before next week. So anyway, until then, I've been Mo, your comment extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by Ladi, the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero. And we'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.